Broughan is sharing time with Deputy Catherine Connolly. 5 minutes each.
Thanks, Catherine. And I welcome the opportunity to briefly contribute on the topic of delivering full employment. And at the outset, I'd like to congratulate the new Minister on her appointment, and also to welcome the CSO report that unemployment continues to fall and now stands at approximately 7.8%, or under 170,000 people last month, which actually marks a decrease, I think, of around 40,000. And the news, of course, that our unemployment rate is now at its lowest level since the end of 2008 must be welcomed. Where we've had so many devastating years of employment contraction. It has to be said, of course, that the outgoing government, the last government, which the Minister, of course, strongly supported, was responsible for a lot of the job losses because you took 30,000 plus jobs out of the public sector, and the multiplier effect of that was devastating across the public sector. So I think Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil in particular have a huge responsibility in this regard for the losses that we had in employment. We had almost reached, as you know, Catherine, the 2 million mark, or we had just reached it in terms of employment around the onset of the crash, and now we've been struggling for the last 4 or 5 years to try and get it back up. You mentioned in particular, Minister, the tourism and hospitality sector, construction and administrative and support service activities. In relation to construction, could I just ask you, we had an announcement, I think, by Minister Howlin a few years ago that there would be public social clauses in public construction contracts, particularly in relation to the school bundles, that if, for example, you're building on the north side of Dublin, that unemployed building workers in that area would be directly employed in that construction. Now, by and large, I don't think this hasn't happened at all. And in fact, I have to say, of course, the debate we had in the last few nights, which I think was initiated by Deputy Howlin, it had a sort of surreal Alice in Wonderland kind of atmosphere, because when you think about it, unfortunately, Deputy Howlin and his colleagues had an opportunity for 5 years, along with your party, to do all the things they spoke about doing and just didn't do for 5 years, and suddenly they've had this incredible transformation after a few weeks out of government, or conversion. It's the road to Damascus for Deputy Howlin and the Labour Party. But social clauses, Minister, we haven't seen them. We've major, obviously, construction, welcome construction beginning to start at long last, and I think a clear objective of your government and Minister Coveney must be, I think Pompey told the Roman Senate at one stage that Rome must build, 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 and we need to build, 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 but we need to make sure that our unemployed building workers from deprived communities get a chance to get a job in the schemes that are going ahead, such as the vast schemes in my own constituency across the North Fringe. Can I just ask you, Minister, also in relation to youth unemployment, it remains far too high. It's still 15%, and it's again a welcome decrease since the height of the recession. And numbers I received last week in conjunction with the National Youth Council of Ireland in a parliamentary reply, I think, from yourself, showed that a couple of months ago the number of persons under the age of 26 in receipt of job seekers allowance was over 35,000. 7,000 were in receipt of the full rate, 4,500 in receipt of the 144, and 23,000 were in receipt of the lowest rate of €100 per week. And of course, of those, there are many areas, of course, where youth unemployment would be significantly higher, such as some of the areas I represent. And the length of time, of course, Minister, that those young people are experiencing unemployment is also quite worrying, because I think you told me that as of the 30th of April, over 26,000 are in receipt of JSA, JB and credits for 6 months or more. So a lot of people becoming endemically unemployed, young people. And this relates, I think, to the speech that was made earlier on by Deputy Barry. We need to provide the opportunities for those districts in particular in relation to third-level education and in relation to apprenticeships. And apprenticeship system seemed to fall apart during the crash. We couldn't get sponsors for young people who wanted to become carpenters, electricians and all the other skilled trades. And this is something you should give your absolute immediate attention to. And the final point before I wrap up, I just wanted to touch on briefly, of course, is how women were damaged. Women workers were damaged during the recession. Their wages were damaged very, very severely. And one thing you could do, Minister, which I hope you would do, finally, is women returners, as we used to call them in our Northside community work projects, that women returners would have access to community employment. They don't at the moment if they don't have the social welfare record. And Minister Burton had 5 years to do something about this and did nothing about it. I'll ask you maybe to take it up. Thanks, Cahirlock.
Thank you. Deputy Connolly.